Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm a wife of an addict in recovery, and I'm also recovering myself from codependency. Trying to hear. I was going to say, we might have a little Miss Marie Reese coming in to say good morning. I hear a little pitter-patter feet. Are you coming in to say good morning?
Good morning.
Come on, say good morning.
Good morning.
Here you go. Wait. Jen's not on, but go ahead. Say good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, baby.
Bye.
Bye. So today, guys.
I can see you and when you'll be done.
Yeah, I'll be done. We'll be done in about 15 minutes, okay?
Well, you'll have the blanket on.
So guys, what we're gonna do is today we're gonna talk
You're
about.
making your war.
Yep, it is. We're gonna be talking about codependency today. We're gonna talk about what codependency is and what it looks like. I feel that a lot of us just hear codependency around addiction, and sometimes we're not really sure if that's us. So I really want to give you the definition of codependency that I feel and how I believe that codependency, for me at least, was way there before I even met Mitchell. It was just when I met someone in addiction, it threw gasoline onto the fire that I was already codependent, and so it made it blaze. So what is codependency for me? Codependency is we may think a certain way inside or feel a certain way inside, but for some reason, we always say something we don't mean or we don't agree with or we don't want to the outside world. And what do I mean by that? There are times where I feel we're asked, how are we doing? And inside we're really not doing well. And I'm not talking about just a stranger in the street, because I know sometimes people are like, well, they don't want to hear it. I mean, people that we really care about and we really love. What tends to happen is, we're talking about someone like a good friend or a good family member, and they ask us, how are we doing? And we're on autopilot generally, and we just say good, or we say good instead of telling someone how we really feel. And I know that might sound very minuscule to some people. However, that is why I actually believe codependency starts coming about, is because we are feeling certain ways inside of ourselves, but we're too nervous to express it, okay? I actually believe, like when we talk about this, I am a firm believer that I do believe people that suffer with addiction were actually codependents first. Because if you look up also behaviors of codependence, they'll say, do not express their needs, and sometimes will numb with a type of addiction. So they're not taking care of their needs, so it goes to the addiction. And addiction, as Mitchell said the other day, can be anything. It can be an addiction to drugs, to drink, to gambling, to shopping, to your phones, to sugar, to anything, to eating. There is so many addictions that are out there, and a lot of times what we do is we just go, well, I'm not addicted to anything. And a lot of people today, we're addicted to social media, okay? We're always on our phones instead of seeing the world, being with our family, being with friends. So for me, I really do believe that codependency starts because we're not expressing our needs, so therefore our needs are not being met. And then we start numbing without even knowing, unconsciously. We start, come on, Toby. We start numbing this feeling inside of us that doesn't feel good. We start numbing that. And that numbing can be social media. It can be to drugs. It can be to alcohol. It can be to eating, shopping, you name it. And I can give you a perfect example. When I was in the midst of the addiction, I really got onto and stuck into social media. And reason being for me is because I started isolating. I started isolating due to my own codependency, not knowing how to handle addiction. This was before I met any of my support system. And I started isolating. And so the only way that could stop the feelings of sadness and loneliness was getting on Facebook and talking to certain people, or just even reacting to something. It gave me that boost of connection that I really needed, even though it wasn't the connection that I really wanted. And it was a while for me to stop going on Facebook all the time, because it became an addiction for me to numb a particular way that I felt inside. And again, it's because I was trying to numb the feelings of the addiction. Good morning, Barb. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Carrie, Paula, Clarabelle, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. So when we talk about codependency, I really actually do believe codependency comes down to, are we expressing our needs, and then are they being met? Now, I know a lot of times we can say, all right, well, we love someone in addiction and they can't meet our needs. And guess what? You are absolutely right. Okay? Usually someone in active addiction cannot meet our needs. Well, guess what is one of our codependent behaviors and traits? One of the behaviors and traits we tend to display is we are attracted to people that are unavailable. And what does that mean? We are attracted to people that are emotionally, sometimes spiritually, mentally unavailable. And I can, again, it stinks to say this, I have some guilt with this for sure. I absolutely was. Because who was I attracted to the most? I was attracted to people that, let's go into a little bit of who Anna is for a minute to really explain this, okay? And this is making me a little nervous because this is really who I am and I'm scared to be rejected by it. I'm an empath. I really do believe that. I really do believe that when I walk into a room, I can sense other people's emotions. And one of the things I've tried really hard to navigate and to work on is to not take in other people's emotions and feelings. Because what I used to do is I would feel someone feel a certain way and I would mimic it. I would take it in and then I would feel I felt the way someone else did. I've felt this way since I was a very young child. I could walk into a room and I could sense anger before even looking at somebody's face or anything. And then later on, when interacting with more, there's the person with anger or feeling sadness. Sadness is the one that really consumes me the most, okay? When I walk into a room and I feel sadness, I've learned things to help protect myself from that, but from a very young age, I felt like an empath. And so what happened was, I admit it, I was attracted to people that I could feel hurt inside. And these people with hurt were very, very good people, very loving people. In all honesty, I believe empaths themselves. And I felt that if I would, or we would just connect more, and there'd be time and patience and love there, that this person would start to feel more joy and more happiness. And so I'm letting you know that automatically I already started believing that I was a fixer, that I could heal people and take care of people. And now one of the things I've learned also with being a healer, we don't go around and just heal people. That's not how that works. That's actually codependency, okay? Is you first learn how to heal yourself inside, and then you just continue to walk this earth and express knowledge if possible. And you're always open because you know that the healing process is never completed. It's always an ongoing process. So you also understand when you learn how to become a healer that you are always in the process of still healing yourself. So you are always open and willing to hear other people and to hear other teachers that come your way. And teachers, I know when we say that, we think of something, oh God, way up here. No, just everyday people walking across the street. Everyone is always your teacher. Okay? If we quiet and we listen and we take that in and we're challenged. And so for me, I do admit it, guys, I did go towards people that in the moment when I met them, they were not available. And codependents, we do tend to go towards people that are unavailable mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, because we have this innate belief in us that we caretake. Okay, now this could be something that's just inside of us. It's usually also because the caretaking role gives us worth. Okay, that's why we're a codependent. The caretaker gives us worth. Or because maybe in childhood or adolescence, teenage years, a young adult, we went into the role of caretaker because maybe someone in our family, one of our parents, was not mentally, emotionally, and physically there. Whether it had to do with an addiction themselves, codependent themselves, had to do with just a lot of stressors going on in someone's life. And so we took it upon ourselves to become the caretaker role of caretaking our parents or maybe one of our siblings in a friend group, okay? Maybe we became also the caretaker in that group. And what that does is it starts to give us worth. Worth is our drug, okay? I am a firm believer that codependents were chasing something. What are you chasing? Okay? We're chasing something. Good morning, Daddy. We're chasing something that gives us a high if we are a codependent. Is it worth? Is it confidence? Is it a certain role we want to have? What is it? Is it unresolved trauma and trying to heal something inside us, so trying to escape a hard feeling or emotion or very hard experiences? There is something that we're doing to try to numb inside. And yes, I really do believe codependence, if we're actually codependents, we struggle with worth. We struggle with confidence. Okay? And if I had my book in front of me right now, the Coda 12-step book, there are examples of behaviors that are written down. And the reason why I'm just not going into that quite yet, I really do like those though, because they don't have anything to do with addiction, because I think too many times when we're talking about codependency, a lot of us want to deny that we're not a codependent because we're like, oh, this doesn't really resonate with me with addiction. I don't feel like I enable. I don't feel like I do these things. But then all of a sudden, when we're really talking about everyday things that may occur or happen in us, then all of a sudden it really hits home and we're like, oh God, maybe I am a codependent. And I can tell you this, do you feel like sometimes it's hard for you to understand how you're feeling? You just know you're feeling a certain way, but it's very hard to see what feeling it is. That's actually a feeling of codependency. Why? Because sometimes understanding our feelings is a new concept for us because we were so invested in other people's feelings and emotions. We actually forgot a lot of the times to ask ourselves, how do I feel? It doesn't even have to be addiction in your life right now. I want to ask you point blank right now. Do you know what your needs truly are? And are you fighting for them? And if someone in your life is telling you point blank, no, I'm not going to be able to meet your needs, are you still accepting that person in your life without holding boundaries? If you are, I'm telling you right now, you're battling codependency because you have someone in your life that is actually telling you, I know you need this from me, but I'm not going to do this. And are you staying active in this person's life or are you detaching? If you are still staying active in this person's life, I'm telling you right now, you are battling codependency. Why? Because you have already soul searched. You know what your needs are. Someone has told you, no, I'm not going to give you the needs that you would like, that are usually and generally very healthy needs, by the way. And you are still free will here, people, right? You are still going, okay, I know these are my needs. You have told me no, you're not going to give them, but I'm going to still stay in your life. Why is that happening? Why is that occurring? Why are we not holding boundaries? Well, I'm not holding boundaries with people in my life because, Anna, usually when I hold boundaries, people start to reject me and they get mad at me. Or they'll even stop talking to me. Okay, again, so let's talk about this. You soul searched, figured out what your needs are. And to protect yourself, you have placed a healthy boundary up in your life. And now people again are telling you, you know what? No, I'm not going to accept your healthy needs and this boundary. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that I'm going to keep choosing this other thing. I'm not going to respect your needs. And what we do is go, okay, well, I know these are my needs, but they're going to yell at me and they're going to reject me. So I'm not going to hold my boundaries anymore. You are battling with codependency. Okay? Family members. If we have family members that we're going to go even further, not into addiction. These are my needs right now. You know, I really need this from you. I really need this conversation to stop right now because I'm still processing. And they keep going and going and going. So what is someone telling you? I'm actually not listening to what you have to say. I'm actually in defensive mode, and I'm going to tell you everything of how I feel. Okay? All right? So I just tried really hard to tell someone how I felt. I tried really hard to tell someone how I was feeling, but all of a sudden, what is happening right now? I feel like I'm being told what I feel is wrong, and someone's being defensive. And then you continue to engage in the conversation instead of just detaching with your boundary. Keep engaging. So, again, what you're telling someone is this. I've soul searched my needs. This is what I really need. I just want to express my feelings right now. I really don't need any solutions. I just need you to hear me. And you express your needs and someone gets defensive about it. So, what happens again in this instinct? You are, again, acting codependent because you are fearful that someone is going to reject you. You are fearful of a confrontation happening instead of, again, standing up for your own healthy needs. If that is happening, you are battling codependency. If it is hard for you to detach right after you have placed a boundary, you are battling codependency. Why do you need to express more? If you have already expressed your boundary that has expressed, I'm going to tell you how I feel. And if you get defensive or you tell me that my feelings are wrong, I'm going to detach. Someone tells you your feelings are wrong, they get defensive and they continue. Right when you start engaging again with them and start going with them, what are you trying to prove in that? What are you trying to prove? Right there, we need to stop when we've expressed our boundaries and continue moving forward. Not with the conversation, with just ourselves. So if that's hard for you, you're battling codependency. If you feel a certain way and you so badly want to speak up to somebody, but again, here comes the, oh, I don't want to cause this. I don't want to cause this. I'm going to cause a confrontation. It's going to cause an argument. You are battling codependency. Why? Because again, you know what you feel, but you are denying yourself your own feelings because you are nervous you are going to cause a confrontation or an argument. That is codependency. You are taking your needs, your necessities again, and putting them on the back burner in fear of a confrontation. Codependence, oh my God, we avoid confrontation like the plague. We hate it. We are acting codependent. A lot of times we don't realize that we are acting codependent. We are, but we are. Right now, do you feel like your life is unmanageable? Do you feel like you're giving really the time and energy in your life to the people that really want it in a healthy way? Maybe your friends, your family, your kids, your spouse, because our addict in our life sometimes is not always our spouse, it's our children. Are you giving healthy time, energy, and effort to the people in your life that are actually willing and wanting to give you healthy love and connection? Are you giving them adequate time compared to your loved one that's struggling in addiction? Or is your main focus your loved one in addiction? And what's happening is other family members, other friends, other kids, spouse, whoever, they're not getting your time, your energy, your focus, your love because you're so preoccupied with the addict in your life. Do they even express it maybe to you? You're always focused on them. This is really hurting me. And then what do? Instead of listening to the person saying, you're always focused on them, I feel, and this is really hurting me. Wow, the tides have changed. Guess what happens? Generally, for a codependent, and we're not seeing our codependency, you know what happens? We look at that person, and we don't hear what they just said to us. We don't hear that they just said, you know, I feel like you're focusing so much on the addict that I'm feeling neglected. I'm feeling unloved. I'm feeling like I'm not getting your time. No, we don't hear any of that. We go straight into defense mode. Well, you don't understand how hard this is. I'm trying to save their life. This is life or death. Why does that sound familiar? Of trying to express our feelings. And we don't feel our feelings are being heard. And they're just met with defensiveness. Sounds a little bit like the addict in our lives. When we tell the addict in our lives how we're feeling, we don't feel like we're being heard because defensiveness just comes straight out. We actually all of a sudden go, whoa, 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 what is happening? Why are we in a fight? So I'm telling you right now, are you really listening to the people that come into your life and go, you know, I just feel like you keep getting hurt over and over and over and again. And I don't understand why it's continued. What I do know is I feel like you don't come over anymore. You used to come over for dinners. I feel like, Mommy and Daddy, you don't play with me as much anymore. You know, your friends like, I feel like you don't come out anymore. All that means, everything that means is this. I feel that we don't have connection anymore, no matter how someone expresses it. And that, usually what's expressed is worry for us. Because I know we say other people don't understand, and I will say, if someone has never loved someone in addiction, I think they don't understand the codependency and what we have to battle. And that's why we go to all these other 12-step programs to find people who understand that it's, as much as it's, you need to go or you need to hold boundaries, you need to do this, we need to learn how do we do that. And I think when other people don't have that feeling and emotion of how hard it is, I think it's just said matter-of-factly, and that really upsets us because we don't believe it's matter-of-factly, because it's not, and there's a lot more feelings, emotions, experience, and that's why we do need to find a support system that really does understand and has been in that war to go, well, this is the coping skills and the tools that we need to hold to get out of this war, okay? And so the thing is I just want you to know, though, let's look at it from their perspective. Let's take ourselves out of it and let's really look at it from our family perspectives. Those healthy families that really love us, that really support us, and we tend to start getting upset with them because this is the wordage that they say, okay? Family member goes, I just keep seeing you continuously getting hurt. Over and over again. You call me up in the middle of the night and tell me how much you're being hurt. You call me up or text me or we have the same conversation, I feel, over and over, and you're telling me that he's acting this way or she's acting this way to you, and you're being hurt. I can see you. You're visibly hurt. You know, I feel like you're not the same person anymore that you were before you met this person or before the addiction came in your life. And now, all of a sudden, family members are starting to go, you know what? I can't have any of this. I can't have you talking to me about this anymore. I can't have this person over my house anymore. And now we're getting upset with our loved one and going, I can't believe they're not understanding it. They don't understand addiction. They don't want this person over their lives. They're telling me that I can't talk to them anymore. Like, what is going on here? And we get very upset. But here's the truth about this. If a family member does that, they're actually battling their own codependency now, and they're realizing that every single time that they talk to us, we're talking about the same thing over and over and over again, but we're not doing something different. We're taking the insanity that we feel in the addiction, and it's going towards other people. So I know it hurts us when other people start holding boundaries with us and go, you know what, I can't talk about this anymore. And it's not because I don't love you or care about you or want to spend time with you. I'm realizing that this is starting to affect my life so much that I'm not focusing on my own other kids or my spouse or my other family or my friends. They're holding boundaries with us because they're starting to challenge their own codependency, whether they know it or not. And if they hold boundaries of, I can't have the addict over here, because we don't understand sometimes. And I know this is tricky ground that I'm about to go into, because I know us with codependence, we believe we're a burden. But we need to realize it's not us that is a burden. What it is certain things in our lives that can sometimes, if we don't take a stance of holding boundaries in our own lives, our own problems can become a burden in somebody else's, because we're not aware how to work through our problems in a healthy way. So right here, what happens is our experiences, because we are codependent, okay, what happens is we go to other people, and if other people start realizing, I can't keep taking this, this is now affecting my own marriage, my own friendships, my own family, I need to hold a boundary. And it's not because I don't love this person. It's not because I don't care about them or I don't want to connect with them. It's just right now, I know that what they are struggling with, no matter how many times I say, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you do that? There's no change. And I just keep getting the same thing, and it's really affecting me. The reason why I'm saying this, guys, is because I really do believe addiction and codependency is really not that different. What I just expressed to you, doesn't that kind of really honestly sound like the addict in our lives? We're telling them to go to meetings or reach out to this person or go to therapy or do these things, but when we're in early codependency, we hear these things, but they go through one ear and out the other, and we don't do anything about it. Wouldn't the person in our lives that we've been talking to and expressing to ourselves, wouldn't that person start to possibly get a little frustrated? Because they feel like they're expressing certain experiences, but we keep doing the same thing over and over, and we keep going back to our drug of choice, which is the addict in our lives. If we keep going back to the addict, is that actually really ever helping us? Honestly. And I'm not saying leave your addict. What I'm saying is a lack of boundaries always continues to have us going back to the addict and not helping the true individuals. Remember, not enabling, holding boundaries, challenging our codependency, speaking up for ourselves. That is helping the true individual. But if we're not doing these things, okay, if we're not leaning into the hard, uncomfortable conversations, if we're not doing the work and wondering, why am I a caretaker? Why do I always feel like I've always been in this caretaker role? Has it been because of different experiences in my life? Do I feel like I get worth when I'm being a caretaker? Do I feel like I get worth when I'm taking care of somebody? Do I feel like if I'm not helping somebody, that I'm a bad person? Is my belief system coming in here? Do I believe that if I walk away and choose me, that I'm abandoning somebody else, even though that person is continuously hurting me? Is there a belief inside of me? Do I believe that I always need to be a servant on this earth? And does that mean no matter how someone hurts me? Am I always a servant even if I'm being abused? There are so many belief systems that are inside of us that we as codependents, that is our own work. We need to look inside of ourselves. This is what codependency is. And the reason why I said, what does codependency look like, and why did I go into possibly affecting other people in our lives, is because, being brutally honest here, guys, our codependency absolutely affects other people in our lives. And I will give you a perfect example. When I did not know about support systems, and I was trying to utilize just family and friends, I started to get to this point where I felt like I was a burden to other people because I realized things were not changing. The addiction had become so extreme. I didn't know what to do. And here's the truth of it. If I was starting to look up divorce, I definitely could start looking up help for families of addicts. And I didn't do that. Okay? I was looking up, before Mitchell went into rehab the first time, I was looking up divorce. That's what I was doing. I was not looking up to that. Now, I can tell you what codependency looked like. I was so much in my own crap because of the addiction that my mother and my father were constantly texting me or calling me, and I would see right on my phone, incoming call, mom, incoming call, dad. And instead of picking up that phone and saying, I am breaking right now, crap, I feel like I am broken. I feel like I am worthless. I look at the person in the mirror and I go, who the hell is that? I don't feel like I can be positive anymore. I feel like I am utterly depressed. I am lost. I don't know what to do. No, what did I do? I'm going to tell you why I did not pick up that phone. Because I felt shame and embarrassment, and I did not want my parents thinking that I could not take care of this on my own, that I could not do this. That right there is codependency. Thinking that I could do this hard situation on my own. What else is codependency? Believing that I am a burden to my parents. Another codependent trait, trying to protect other people from my own feelings and emotions. Why don't I allow other people to make decisions for themselves? And also feeling that shame and not reaching out for help. That is codependency. All of that is codependency. And I'm other people. What did that do to my mom and dad on the other line? All I was doing was thinking about myself. Thinking about, still in myself, I'm going to protect my parents from this. I don't want them to know that I'm struggling with this. I don't want them to worry. Who am I the judge for that? They're my parents, and if they want to worry, they can worry. That's their own. And if they're battling their own codependency, then they can hold boundaries with me. Why is it my responsibility to stop people from doing that? I am taking, going where Laura said, I am taking opportunities away from other people to show me love. So what did it do to my parents on the other line? It hurt my parents. What does hurt mean? My parents on the other line knew. They knew I was struggling with things. It's not like we hadn't talked. They knew I was struggling. They knew I was hurting. And they were worried for me. They were scared for me. And me not picking up that phone, do you think that helped them with that? Or did it make it worse? States away, wondering what was happening to their daughter. Anxiety filled. Wondering what was happening, what was occurring. I didn't know that. I didn't even think of that. That's also my codependency and my trauma there. Didn't even think of that. And later on, when my mom and dad and all of us talked, my mom would say, did you just not think that we knew, Anna? We knew. We knew something was going on, and in all honesty, you not picking up that phone, it hurts so much more. So if you're isolating and you're not picking up the phone from people that are calling you because you're feeling shame or guilt or whatever it is, that's codependency also. Because here's support on the other line, but we're having feelings of being a burden, being too much. Wanting to not let other people into our lives because, God, if we do that and we ask for help, then that means we're weak, right? And we're not strong. That's codependency there as well. I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you, it is very difficult to love someone in addiction and not be codependent. Very, very, very difficult. And again, if you ask me, I believe we were codependent before the addict came into our lives. There were times where we were feeling unworthy, low self-esteem patterns, lack of boundaries, not wanting to express ourselves, possibly being a people pleaser, being a perfectionist, wanting to avoid confrontation like the plague. So we tried to avoid arguments, confrontation, any of that. That's a codependent. Addiction just generally has this way of throwing gasoline onto a fire and exposing codependency. Doesn't mean that we didn't not have it before, but it exposes it. So guys, I'm going to go up here real quick because I know a few. Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much for the stars. I really, really appreciate it. That really helps and supports Mitchell and I to continue just always coming on here. So thank you. Erin, I feel it's the same with narcissism. If you've ever experienced it, we don't understand. It's absolutely true. And again, I do believe that when we love someone in addiction, unfortunately, when they're in addict mode, they do exhibit narcissistic behaviors. However, a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the times when someone becomes the true individual and they really work a recovery, they are not narcissists. It is unfortunately a byproduct of the disease that narcissistic behaviors come out of it. Truth, stop focusing on the addict. They will suck you dry. They will. And Patty, and see, even in that statement, that's our responsibility. That's our responsibility not to be sucked in. We have free will. We can say no. However, generally our codependency surfaces, comes in, and then we make the choice. We don't realize it, and we get sucked back in because we're with our codependency. Hey, Anna, I hope you're well. You look great. Thank you, Kelly. Looking good. Good morning, Suzanne. Love you. I think there was one more. Wow, I can relate to this, Anna. Good morning, Sherry. I really hope, honestly, a lot of you can relate to this one because I really do believe a lot of us are codependent. And a thing we do a lot of times is we like to live in denial about it. So true, the ones that love you, they know. So true that the ones that love you, that they know. They do. And guys, if you really heard a lot about that, a lot of it, honestly, I feel, I really think if an addict in recovery or an active addiction came on and listened to this live, I think they could actually realize that there's a lot of this in their own lives. Because again, I really do believe that before addiction, there's codependency. And because we're not having our needs met and we're not taking care of our own needs, we hurt so much that we find something to help us cope. And it's an unhealthy coping skill. However, it helps us cope. We find a drink, we find a drug, we find shopping, we find sex, we find gambling, and it stops that pain inside for a little bit and numbs it. And then we keep doing it because it numbs the pain. And then all of a sudden, unfortunately, now we have the disease of addiction. Our brain has really rewired. It has changed. And we need help to help that brain heal again. And that's the same, guys, that comes with us as codependency. We have to retrain and heal our brain because our codependency is survival response. Okay, what are we trying to survive from? And we need to work on that. And again, it goes into big core beliefs. And we can talk about that tomorrow on the live too, is what core beliefs could really stop us or make us become a codependent. And we can go into that. But I love you guys very much. Let's do this again. We did this yesterday. I love doing this. And then I actually have a session to head to. I just realized that. Hand over the heart. Let's take a deep breath in and out. And what we're going to do is when we take this deep breath in and out, we're going to ask ourselves how we feel. So ready? Deep breath in and out. And no matter how you felt, I want you to learn to accept that feeling because that's the first way to heal. We need to accept how we feel, not criticize how we feel. Second deep breath in and out. We're going to picture this beautiful gold healing light going in, and we're going to exhale anything that does not serve us. Okay, hand over the heart. Deep breath in and out. And third deep breath in and out, my favorite. What we're going to do is we're going to realize right now in this breath, guys, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what time it is, we are going to be connected together in the breath to know also you are not alone in this battle, okay? You are loved and you have a support system around you. Deep breath in and out, hand over the heart. Oh, I've always not smile on that one. I love that one. It's the best for me. I love you guys very much. I hope you have an absolutely amazing Wednesday. Take care of yourself and do some self-care for you. All right. Bye, guys.